Growing up, I had dreams and aspirations, but always felt like the kid that didn't fit in. For the most part, I wasn't a bad kid, but when I made the transition into adulthood, I turned to the streets for guidance. This led to getting locked up in juvenile hall, doing time in CYA, and eventually a 120-month sentence in federal prison. I had a lot of time to think and reflect during my federal sentence. So I share with you what I learned, hoping I can positively influence someone else's life with Prison Talk.
916, getting down with Fresh Out, and you're tuned in to another Prison Talk. Now, imagine this. You're in your late 60s, early 70s. You don't have a criminal record, but you're going to commit a crime so that you go to prison so that you don't have to be alone on the street. Your kids don't want nothing to do with you. You don't have a spouse. You spend your days by yourself and you're depressed. Well, that's what's going on in Japanese culture, and it's sad. Check it out.
When I got caught this time, I thought, I don't care what happens to me anymore. I want to die. I don't care if I live or not. I can't tell you how difficult it is to be alone.
We've been granted extremely rare access to a jail at the center of a growing crisis in Japan: lonely seniors. The Japanese government says the country's aging population means more lonely seniors and a surge in elderly crime.
There's no one to take care of them outside, and they're repeatedly abandoned. They come here because they don't have anywhere else to go.
Meals are taken in cells, alone and in silence. But for some, just knowing someone's nearby is enough.
My son tells me to disappear. He says, I don't care when you die. They are very good people in this prison. I am very thankful that in prison, I can live a regular life every day.
With no one and nowhere to go, some of Japan's elderly are choosing a life of crime, as freedom is a cheap price to pay for the chance to not die alone.
So Japan has a growing elderly community. I've read somewhere that they're actually in the negative as far as births. So they're going to have more older people than they will younger people. And there are a lot of single, older, lonely people, and they feel like they have no purpose, no place to go, no one to talk to. And that's sad, man. I can't imagine my grandmother or grandfather at some point going to steal something or do a bank robbery with a note or whatever the case may be so that they can go to prison and be taken care of. That's mind-blowing. And to say that that's a growing segment in the culture says a lot about the culture, man. I mean, I've been to Japan, Tokyo, years ago. Very clean. People were very polite, very courteous. They have a really, big honor system there. People, respect each other. But I wasn't familiar with the elderly community there, so I knew nothing about it. And I knew nothing about, Suicide Forest, which in Japan, from what I understand, they have an area there they call a Suicide Forest where people go and commit suicide, which is very scary. But the older people in our communities have such value. And I always try to talk to older people when I go out and just hear the stories and ask about what it was like, because you can see a movie or watch a show or read a book, but when you get it from the person that actually lived during those times, you might get a totally different story, because history is written by those who want to put forth a narrative. And I've talked to a lot of older people I've talked to older men that were in Vietnam. I've talked to guys who grew up during like the Depression, as young men. Talked to older women that were around in the 40s, and it's amazing what you hear, and it makes you grateful for what you have today. These people laid down the foundations for us to have all these luxuries and these simplicities in our life. As kids, I would hear about walking to school, a mile, 2 miles. And these kids today, you can't imagine them walking to school 2 miles in the rain or the snow by themselves. No, working outside in the morning before you have to get ready to go to school. You're doing chores, half these kids could barely get up in time to catch the bus. So you can't imagine having to go out, feed the animals, or, do whatever you do around the house, then have breakfast, then get ready to go to school and do a full school day, come home and work, then do your homework. That was the breakdown for a lot of people who grew up in the generations before us. So we're very fortunate. And I think a lot of young people don't understand and are very selfish, don't respect their elders, disrespect their elders, don't give them the common courtesy they deserve. When I hear about young people that rob old people, beat up on old people, I just think they just, from the rip, need a wig split. There's no passes for that. Somebody that hurts somebody that's elderly, somebody who takes advantage of an old person, man, you get no pass. You get no pass. So I would like to hear what you guys think about this serious situation going on in Japan with the elderly people committing crimes. And leave a comment, share this. This is something that blew me away. And I would like to get your feedback, man. Hit a like, subscribe, share the channel. Big Herc 916, fresh out.
Lockdown's over.
I didn't
Get your
start
yard
off as
time
a bad
in.
kid.
Exclusively
Officially,
at
I only got one real spanking my entire life. My mom did the best a 14-year-old could do, raising me with love and instilling values that will last a lifetime. I was a straight-A student and lived to make her happy. So how did I go astray? A horrible stepdad that stole my self-worth and invoked fear turned me into a person that I struggled to overcome. From skateboarding to selling drugs, gang banging in juvenile hall, I got caught the same way many young promising men get caught up. I struggled to find my identity, getting mixed up in shootouts, crime, and the adult entertainment industry. This roller coaster continued as I juggled college, hustling, and Hollywood, eventually catching a federal bank robbery case. I found redemption in prison while serving a 120-month federal sentence and came out a man on a mission. I became a social media influencer with over 500 million views on YouTube and a life coach mentoring people all over the world. This is my journey against all odds.